So it's time. So we would like to begin today's session as we share our consolidated business results for the first quarter of fiscal year 2015. Let us introduce CFO Koji Yanagisawa and Business Management Division Saito Go. So two individuals from our company will be presenting today. Our CFO Yanagisawa will start. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming today. It is a very hot day. We appreciate you taking the time to come. So if we can begin, we would like to share the consolidated business results for the fiscal year 2015 first quarter. So what you will see on the screen, it will be slightly different from the documents that you have in your hand. Let us talk about the business results. The transaction value was 33.271 billion, which is up 22.2% year on year, which was and 3.733 billion in operating profits, which is a 29.5% increase year on year. And against our targets, we have done 19.8%. The first quarter, the progression rate for the first quarter is around 20 to 21%. However, as we have mentioned from before at the beginning of the year, most of our volume will happen at the end of the fiscal year. So if we take that into consideration, we think that we have ended the fiscal year in quite a healthy state. And if we look at the sales volume, it's 10.856 billion, which is 29.2% increase year on year. As we mentioned, the operating profit was 3.733 billion, but the operating profit ratio against the transaction value was 11.2%. But previous year was 10.6%, so we have improved our operating profit margin. This talks about our native growth. Last year, with the increase in consumption taxes, and last year we also saw the summer sales happening at a different period. It was much earlier. So we took that into consideration to get our actual results, actual growth. And this is our transaction value, but our actual growth was 17.2%. The previous year, we did around 10 to 15% in terms of native growth. So compared to that figure, this fiscal year, we have accelerated our growth. And if we talk about the shift in increase and decrease of the operating profit, we did a lot of regular promotions using points. We are currently doing a 10 times point campaign as well. So compared to the previous year, we spent more on promotion costs. It was 1.2% last year, but this fiscal year, this quarter, we use 1.8%. So the promotion costs, especially the points, has increased. Another factor is from October 2014, we expanded the area of same-day delivery, and we also offer free same-day shipping as well. So this has also increased our cost burden. Last year, it was 3.7%. However, this quarter is 4.2%. So these are the increasing costs in terms of the increase in profits or the sales. The average take rate of consignment shops has gone up. Also, crown jewel is also a used business. The sales, it comprises, the volume is larger now. Therefore, the gross profit margin has gone up. If we look at the gross profit margin, consolidated gross profit margin, it was 29.6% last year, but this year it was 30.6%. Another factor that has improved our results is that the fixed costs have decreased. The fixed costs of the SG&A, it was 47% previous year, but this fiscal year, this quarter, it was 44%. So as a result, the OP margin has increased by 0.6%.
で、もう一つが、こちらとは若干ちょっと関係ないんですけど、バランスシートの方、
If we look at the balance sheet,
会計の資料で言いますと、6ページ
if it's page 6 on the documents that you have,
総資産の方が442億円という
the total assets is 44.2
ご
billion.
覧いただいて、お分かりの通りですね、無形
As
資
you can
産
see,
が、
the intangible assets,
こちらは、
intangible fixed assets
5月ですね、買収いたしました、新玉さんのですね、
also reflects
のれんの方を
the
計上しております。
goodwill of Aratana that we purchased in May this year.
BSS では、提供しておりません。
So
これの金額は、銀行が
on the balance sheet, it was consolidated as of the end of first quarter, but the profit and loss will be consolidated in the second quarter. So if we look at the transaction value per business, the ZOZOTOWN business was 28.87 billion, which is up 24.4% year on year. We believe this is a very good result. Some of the factors for the good results is that we have been able to add a lot of categories and shops that resonate with our target customers with our core price range. So we have been able to invite a wider range of shops onto our platform. So that has helped us acquire more customers. And also the new products have been introduced as part of a styling. So this is also used for the Wear app as well, but we have increased the number of coordinate images that we offer, which has encouraged customers to purchase our products. And another factor, we've already mentioned this, are point campaigns. So our point campaigns have been very effective this quarter. Of course, we offer points, but we've worked with brands as well to offer point campaigns as well. And those point campaigns have also had a positive result. And for our B2B business, the transaction value was 4.383 billion, up by 9.7% year on year. As of the end of June, we had 33 sites. And conventional start today B2B service was 12 shops. And we have stores.jp Pro, 21 sites on stores.jp Pro. And now if we take a closer look at the ZOZOTOWN business, the consignment business resulted in 27.409 billion, which was a 21.8% increase year on year.
で、受託ショップの数の方
We
は、
had
558ショップというふう
658
になっており
shops,
ます。第1クォーターではですね、
and
ウェブ
as
サ
of the
ウェブ
first
ショップ
quarter,
新し
we
く、
added
導入してお
13
りま
new
す。
shops,
具体例でいきます
which
と、
includes
ポロ
shops
ロレン
like
さんですね。
Polo,
ポロロレン
Ralph
さん
Lauren,
ですとか、あとはですね、ナチュラルビューティーベーシックさん、
Natural Beauty Basic,
レスポートサッカーさん、
Les Sports
そういったと
Sac,
ころから、オープンしておりま
are
す。比
some of
較
the
的、
shops that newly opened on our
名前の知
platform.
れた、
So these
比
are
較的多い
quite
ブラン
well-known
ド
big
を、
brands
有する
that
こ
have
とがで
joined
きる
us.
状況になっております。続いて買取ショップ、
Next, if we
これ
look at the
は
purchase
我
stock
々が導入し
business,
て新しい、新規の
this
商
is
材
where
をですね、
we
販売しております
incur
けども、こちらは約
inventory risk.
8,000万円
This
という
resulted
ふう
in
になっております。
170
これ
million.
はもともともうビジネスとしては縮小してお
Of
ります
course,
の
we've
で、
already mentioned
ややこ
in
にしてはですね、
previously
かな
that
り
we
大
are
規模となってますけれども、
shrinking
金額
this
としては
business
だい
on
ぶ小さく
purpose.
なってきております。そう
But
いう意味では、
now
か
it's
なり、買
170
取ショップ
million.
からですね、受託ショップへの移行とい
So
うの
many
は、
of the
も
brands
う
have
私したような、
shifted from
状況になって
purchase
いる
stock to
というふうに
consignment
思いま
business,
す。
but that shift has come to a
続いて
conclusion.
ユーズドの方、古着のビジネスの方です
And
ね。
ZOZO
ユー
used,
ズドの方の商品取扱高が
the
13億
transaction
円
value was
ということで、変動金利は
1.307 billion, 123.4% increase year on year. So it is doing very
こち
well.
らはですね、ZOZO タウン内でかなり商品の
We
開
have
発をですね、強化をして
done
いると
very
いうこ
well
とで、
in
販売
promoting
販
the
売ですね、
purchase
開
of
発す
used
るための
products
方
through
が
ZOZO
かな
Town.
り充実して
So
きて
we
いる
have
というのが非常に
a
大
lot
きな
more
要因
inventory.
で、
So that is
やはり
a
商品が充実すれば
key
もっと売れ
factor.
る
So of
という
course
こ
we
と
have
で、
more
充
products,
実
then we
を
will
し
be
ている
able
と
to
思いま
sell
す。
more as well.
ま
So
あ、
that's
我々としてはもっともっと伸ばしていこうというふうに思ってい
done
ます
well,
ので、
but of
そうい
course
う意味
we
では
want
まだまだ
to
これからということで、
continue to focus our
この
efforts
と
so
ころ
that we
か
can
な
do even
と
better.
いうふうに思っております。続きまして、営業利益、
And if
キ
we
ャン
look
ペー
at
ン
the
時の営業利
operating
益になりま
profit
す。
per quarter,
配布資料に行きますと14ページ。
so it's
こちらの
14,
方、
page 14 on the
利益
documents
率
that
の
you
数字の
have.
方、載せております。
The operating
営業利益
profit,
率
the
はですね、
shift
こ
in
の第
operating
1クォーター
profit
で
can
は
be seen here. It was
11.2% ということで、前
11.2%
年
this
同期
quarter.
が、こちらにあります通り
As you can
10.6%
see,
でしたの
it
で、
was
それからは10
10.6%
ポイント
last
上
year,
昇する
same
ことができ
quarter.
ております。
So it has increased
まあ、
by
それは先ほど簡単にお話しした通
0.6%.
りなんですけれども、
And as I
前年
already
四半期
mentioned,
から比べるとですね、前年四半期は 12%
we
でし
did
たが、
the
今回
last quarter we did
こ
12%,
の年
but
々
this
加速
quarter we
下
only
落
did
している要因はですね、
11.2%.
2
So
つあり
it
ま
has
して、
come down
と
by
いうことと、もう
0.8%.
一つはグローバルコス
This is
ト、
due to
先ほど
seasonal
のグローバル
factors and
コスト
also
ですね、
increase in
この分の
promotion
コスト
costs, the
と
point
いうの
campaigns
が
that we
要因と
mentioned
してはあ
earlier.
るかと
So
思います。
those are the
まあ、例
reasons
年と比
why
べ
it's
る
slightly
と、第
lower
1クォーターというのは営業利益率
than
下
the
がるという
previous
ことにな
quarter.
ります
But
の
of
で、
course,
まあ、例
it
年
has
の
been the
ですね、
case every
それ
year
に加
that
え
the
て、
first
プロモーション
quarter
費用
is lower than the
というも
fourth
のが
quarter of the
発生
previous
され
year.
ております。
But the key factors are seasonal and promotion costs.
続きまして、販管費の制度の方
And
の
if we
説
look at
明を
the
いたします。
SG&A,
まず販管費についてはですね、先ほど来お話ししております、プ
as
ロモーシ
I've
ョン管理
already
費用です
mentioned, the
ね。これ
promotion
が、
costs
0.6ポイント
has
の、プラス
increased by
になっております。
0.6%.
ポイントキャンペーンの、分ですね。こちら
Point
が増えているこ
campaigns
とと、
has
増え
increased.
ております。まあ、ブランドさんとコラボし
Of
ている
course, the
キャン
point
ペーンにつ
campaigns
いて
that we
は、これ
did
は
with the
我々がオン
brands
ラインで
is
ですね、
not something
実
that
は
we
関西
incurred a
のキャ
cost
ンペーンだ
for,
というふうにです
but
ね、
the
こちら
point
が
campaigns that
費用
we
の
conducted
その
as
分が
only as
ずっ
ZOZO
と
Town
プラスになって
standalone
い
point
るということで
campaigns
す。
is
で、
0.6%
もう
higher.
一つがですね、荷造り運賃
Another
の方、これも
factor
先ほ
is
ど
the
お
shipping
話しし
costs.
た
I've already
配送
mentioned
料
this as
が
well,
無
but
料でですね、これ
we
が
are
0.6
now
ポイント
offering same day
プラ
shipping
ス
for
になってい
free.
るという
So
ことで
it's
す。
this has gone up by
その他は、そ
0.5%.
の他としてですね、
And
0.3ポイン
other
トプラス
factors
にな
is
っている。これは配送クオリティの向
the
上。まあ、我々、
improvement of
今、
the
おそらく
shipping
配送する
quality
際にですね、
when
ト
we
ランスポ
ship
ート
our
を使
products to
っ
our
てですね、
customers.
茶色が黒に変えていると
Last
いう
year,
こと
we
で、そ
changed
の分
from a
ですね、
normal
価格
cardboard
が、
box to a more high
1ポイント
quality
プラスにな
black
っているという
box.
こ
So
とです。
that's increased the cost by
で、固定費はです
0.3%.
ね、先ほどお話ししました通り、マイナ
And
ス
fixed
0.5 ポイン
costs
ト、
has decreased by
増増
0.5%,
収
as I
効果
mentioned earlier.
ということで、証券会
So
社
this
さん
has
からそういっ
helped
たところ
improve our profit. Of course, this is due to the decrease in depreciation and the burden ratio of rent. So we have resulted at 6.453 billion in SG&A.
でここからは、
And now
KPI を
we would like to look at some of the
まず年間
KPIs
購入
for
者数、
ZOZOTOWN.
をで
The
すね、
number of
考えた
total
時に
buyers
は、
for the year was
396人、
currently we have
ということで、
3.6 million.
こちら、この1年間でですね、
So we
約
have
19万7000
increased
人、入場していると
this number
いう
by
ことになっております。前四半期の時比で
197,077.
いきますと、4万
This is
5952人、増加というふうにな
higher
ってお
if
り
we
ます。
compare to the previous quarter.
で
It's increased by
大体
45,952.
前期の上期ですね、まで
The
は大体
first
4
half
月
of
頃
the
10万ぐらい
previous
入
fiscal
場し
year,
たのを考えると、若干
until then
値
we
上が
have
りしてますけれども、これはもうちょっと嘘ついてま
increased
す
the
けれど
number of
も、
buyers by
相当
100,000 every
影
month.
が出
But
ており
this
ます。
is, it seems compared to that, it seems it has come down slightly. But that's because we've actually consolidated the Labu site back into
無線で
ZOZOTOWN.
参入して
We
ですね、
opened this
していきま
site
したけれども、これ
in
もですね、
September
なかなかブロ
2013, but
ッ
we
クしております。
closed it
で、
in
その
July
時の、
2014.
ラブの会員ですね。ラ
So
ブ
the
プランの
number
方
of
々
members
が、
from Labu
なくなっていると。で、この
has
グラフでいきます
it's
と、
no
これなんで
longer
すけれど
there,
も、
so it's hard to see on this graph. But
上黒
the
くなってま
top
すね。ここがラブの
dark
会員なん
gray
ですけれども、
portion is Labu
2016
membership.
年の4月以降、
But
その会員さんが
after
どんどん減って
July,
きているような状況になっています。
the
まあ、そ
number
れ
of
は
members that we do have on
考慮
Labu
す
has
るとですね、
decreased.
ゾゾタウン
But
の
if we
概
take
ね、
this into
いう
consideration
の
and just only look
第
at
一クォーターというの
ZOZOTOWN, the
を、大体
first
2014
quarter
年3
growth
月期の水準に、なって
has
きています。まあ、そういう意
recovered
味では、
to
効果的
the
な
same
戦
level
略を
as
取りやす
March
くて、
2014. So I
皆さん
think
本当に安
the
くでうまく増えてい
point
ってい
we
ると
think the
い
point
うふうに
promotions
見
have
ております。
had a positive effect on the
まあ、
number
形
of
でします
total
と、
buyers
ちょ
as
っと増
well.
加しているように見えますけれども、そ
So
の要
it
因
looks
は
like it
ラ
has
ブの方法
decreased, but it's
ゾゾ
only
タウン
because
の
we've
会員さんが
integrated
非常
Labu
に増え
back
ていると
into
いう こ
ZOZOTOWN.
と
But
で
the
ござい
number
ま
of
す。
ZOZOTOWN buyers has steadily increased at a healthy rate.
続いての KPI ですけれども、
The
年間
next
購入
KPI is the
の利点数
annual
を
purchase
ご覧
amount
くだ
and
さい。
price.
お手元の資料に行きますと20ページの資料にな
Annual
っています。
purchase amount and pieces per active member.
年間購入金
It's
額は
page
4万
20 on the
4千
documents that you have.
279
The
円
annual
という
purchase
こと
amount is
で、前四半期比で言います
44,279
プ
yen.
ラス1.7%
Compared to the previous
という結果になっております。
quarter, it's
で、この購入件
1.7%
数も
higher.
こちらは8.0点
And
と
now,
いう
on
ことで、
average, each
まあ、
user
両
is
方ともです
purchasing
ね、
about 8 items
順調に、
per year.
伸びてきている
So
という
both
結果になっております。で、先ほど言っ
indicators
た
have
ですね、
done
既存
well,
のアク
have
ティブの
improved.
お客様ですね、既存のお客様
The
が、
existent
購入
buyers,
率という
active
のが上昇
buyers,
してきておりまして、
they're
まあ、それ
purchasing
が
more
こ
and more
の数字に反映されてきているという結
on
果
our
になっておりま
website.
す。
So
まあ、
that
これが
is
こ
pushing
の
these
当初です
figures
ね、ポ
up.
イントキャンペーンをかなり
The
実施して
point
おります。まあ、
campaigns
それ
for
の
the
影
first
響で、
quarter
既存のアクティブの会員様がどんどん多く
resonated
な
well
っている
with
という
our
ふうに我
active
々は
buyers.
考
So
えております。
that
まあ、
has
実際の
also
ポイントキャンペ
led
ーン
to a
で
better
コンバージョンが
conversion
かなり、
rate.
既存のお客様ですね、コンバージョンが上がってきておりますので、それ
So
だけ有
even
効
our
果
with
が
our
出てき
active
てい
or
るかなと
existent
いう印象
members,
を
the
持っており
point
ます。
campaigns helped improve their conversion rates as well.
続いての KPI は配布資料
The
に行きま
next
すと20ペ
KPI
ージになりますけれども、
is
平均
shown
出
on
荷
page
高、
21, the
商
average
品単
purchase
価
amount per
の方
shipment
に
and
なりま
average
す。
retail price.
これはですね、商品単価に関しては前年
The
同期比で 7.4%
average purchase
低
amount
下しております。で、出荷高の方
the
は、
average retail price
リ
has
ライトしてい
gone
る株
down by
1.9% の
7.4%,
低下と
and the
い
average
う結果
purchase
になって
amount
おり
per
ます。
shipment has decreased by
で、このグラフ
1.9%.
はですね、商品
This
単価と
graph
出荷単価
shows
の伸び
the
率のご覧にな
monthly
ったもの
shift
なんですけれども、
in the average
商品単
retail
価が
price
何
and the
を
average
今
purchase
伸びて
amount
き
per
ているか
shipment.
という
As
結
you
果に
can
なってお
see,
ります。
the average
これの要因なんですけれど
average
も、
retail price has
一
come
つ
down
は、
significantly.
ブランドミックスですね、の影響というこ
One
と
of
です。
the
これは
factors that
お客
affected
様
this
の
is the change in
や
the
はり
brand
消費の仕
mix.
方というのが、ただちょっと選別商
This
品とか節
has
約商品
this
という
has
ふうに言
done
われますけれど
this
も、
is due to
ま
the
あ、
fact
利
that
得が
consumers
時
have
期と
become either more
いうふうに
selective
なっ
or
ている
more
のかなという
frugal.
ふう
So
に思いま
it's
して、
we've seen bipolar
まあ、それ
behavior
とそれにつられてブランド様にやはり
and
商品戦
also
略ですね、商品の価格戦略というとこ
the
ろが、
brands have
ここが商
also
品単価
changed
が若
their
干下落してきていると、まあ、セール前の
sales strategy.
黒番の
So
価格等が、
they've
下落
brought
して
their
きている
prices down slightly as
というのが
well.
やはり影響出ているかな
So
という
this
ふうに
has
思っておりま
affected
す。
the average
まあ、こ
purchase
こに
amount
よ
per
る
shipment
そ
and
の
average
こ
retail
の商
price.
品単価の下落を起用というか、
The
影響度
decrease, the
大体どのぐらい
contribution
ぐらいだと
rate
思いますかね。
to the decrease in these two indicators. For the brand mix, it's contributed to around 60% of the decrease. And also another factor is sales. More products are being sold at a discount, which has contributed to a 30% of the decrease of the two key
前年同期の
performance
セールスの
indicators.
販売比率、これが大体21%なっています。
Previous
第
year,
1クォーターの時
same
に
quarter was
25%というこ
21%
とで、4% 減
of the
の
products were
推移
sold
ですね。
at a
その
discount,
ように当然
whereas
の
this
販売
fiscal
が
year,
商品
this
が上がる
quarter, it
と
was 25%, so
い
it
う
has
ふうに
gone
なっ
up
てい
by
ます。
4%. So of course, this is
で、
going
最
to
後
affect
は、これはあまり
the
話題に
average
なってない
purchase amount per
一番
shipment
上
and
の数
average
字なんで
retail
すけど、
price.
先ほど、
And the,
お話しした
and the
増量
last
率のとこ
factor
ろです
is
ね。
not a
これも
negative
販売構成比率
um,
が上がってきてい
indicator,
るんで
but
すね。で、
we're
元々
doing
輸
well.
入
Our
原
It's
料
also
費
used
の値段
business
が
is
比較的
doing
低いものが多いと。
well.
ということ
And
で、
because it's
今後
a
も
recycled
輸
product,
入
it's
の
a
コスト
used
が大体
product, the
20%
prices are lower.
というふうになっています。
Therefore, the
それによって
contribution
商品
to
の
the
価格が
decrease
減
is
ら
around 10%.
というふうになっています。ちなみに ZOZO ユーズドの販売構成比率、前年同期は大体
Last
2% ぐらいだったんですけれども、
year, same quarter,
今
the
4%
ZOZO use comprised of
倍に
2%
前年
of
同
the
期と
total
比
transaction value, but now it's 4%.
較
So
ぐらい
it's
減っている
actually
状態
doubled.
になってますね。
Therefore, it's contributed to 10% of the decrease in
ただ一方でです
the
ね、
two
平均
KPIs.
出荷単価の方は、1.9% ということで、原価
But
価
the
は
average
若干
purchase
低いように
amount per shipment was only lower by 1.9%. So, considering that the average retail price has come down
で、これは、
significantly, we've been able
実
to
は、
maintain the
こ
average
の
purchase
会社
amount
で
per
ですね、
shipment
これは
slightly higher.
3000円未満の、3000円未満の購入については送料いた
But
だき
this
ま
is
す
because
とい
we
うことが要
changed
領
the
です。
rules.
それによって、
Now, customers who purchase less than
出荷単
3,000 yen will have to pay for shipping. So, this has encouraged customers to spend more than 3,000 yen on our website.
つまり合わせ買いが増えてきている。
So, we are seeing more people purchasing more items, which has helped push the average purchase amount per shipment back up.
で、ここからは若干ちょっと話の毛色が変わるようなことですけ
This
れども、
now we would like to talk
左後ろに
about
見ますと24ページになります。
what is on page 24 of the documents that you have. Some of the 10th campaigns that we did, 10th anniversary promotion.
ご存知の方も皆さん
For those, I'm sure many of you already know, but in April 2015, we did a 0 yen sales, which is was part of our 10th anniversary promotion. So we sold around 20,000 items at around 200 million yen worth of products at 0 yen. So it's for to thank our customers who come to Zoltan every day. We carried out this campaign and it was very well received, and it was introduced on the Yahoo News top site. So Zozo is selling items for 0 yen. So it was generated quite a buzz. And users who weren't able to purchase for 0 yen, who visited the site the next day, we gave 500 points to these buyers or members as well. Next, about wear. The number of downloads as of July this year is 5.5 million downloads. So it's over 5.5 million now. So it's more than 5.5 million downloads, and the number of styles or photos that's been uploaded is more than 2.5 million. It can be downloaded across the world. But in April, we fully renewed our smartphone application site. And based on that, we've also created an updated version or offered an updated version in July. And as many of you may know, in June, we signed a sponsorship agreement with Wearistas, people who have lots of followers on Wear. So it may be celebrities, but it may be general people from the general public. But we started sponsoring 200 Wearistas from the general public. And we are offering 100,000 yen worth of points to these baristas to help promote, help encourage them to buy on ZOZOTOWN, and also to improve the quality of styling photos and encourage uploads. And these high quality styling photos can be uploaded on ZOZOTOWN as well.
向上してまいりますので、
And
我々
these
としてはそこに
great
あの、
styling or
対策
coordinations
を実施していると
also help
いう
improve
と
the
ころでございます。
conversion rate as well. So that's some of the effects that we are hoping will happen.
はい、続きまして、これ会社計画
Next,
になりますけれども、こちら
this
は、
is the business plan for fiscal year 2015.
開示している数字になります。ちょっとおさらいになりますけれ
These
ども、
numbers, it may be a
まあ
review
本日
because
の計
we've
画として
already
は、本日
introduced
取り
these
上げられ
figures
たのは、前
before.
期
The
比較的
transaction
という
value
こと
for
で、
this fiscal
営
year
業利益
is
は前
up.
期比
We want to do it 30.3% higher than the previous year, and operating profit 26.9% year on year, higher year on year.
営業利益が191
And the
億円
transaction value
ということで、
16.82 billion, sales 53.8 billion, and
他の
operating
方々
profit 19.14 billion. And we are aiming to give 40 yen, 7 yen per share, so a dividend payout ratio of 40%. And of that, ZOZOTOWN business will be 153.7 billion. Flea market business will be 3.5 billion. This is a new business. This has not begun yet. When it starts, we hope it will do 3.5 billion. We will let you know when it starts too. And B2B business, we want to do 11 billion.
今期はこの機械損失の解消というものをかなり
Of course, we have focused on improving or decreasing the opportunity loss to meet demand, and that will help us reach higher growth. And not only will we aim to acquire more products, but consumer demand is becoming more and more variegated. And in order to capture this demand, we want to continue to propose different coordinations and styling, and also offer personalized content to improve the conversion rate. So in terms of B2B, Aratana that we purchased this year. So we are calling that Aratana model, but it's a transition period for shifting brands to the Aratana model. So some of our customers will be shifting to the Aratana model. So this is why, because it's a transition period, the numbers aren't as high or as aggressive. And the ZOZOTOWN business, the breakdown, we plan to do 145.9 billion in consignment business. Of course, we want to acquire more and more brands, especially in the second quarter. We are planning to add more and more shops in the second half of the year, so please look forward. Operating profit and operating profit margin, this is also a review. We plan to do 19.140 billion. The operating profit margin is scheduled to come down by 0.3%, but this is because of what we mentioned before, same-day delivery, improvement of the shipping quality. And the promotion cost will remain the same as the previous year. And Aratana, as we mentioned before, the goodwill amortization will begin. It will be consolidated starting in Q2, which will be around 84.2 billion year on year. So the figures that we introduced just now is just a review, but as I mentioned already, most of the volume will be, a majority of the volume will be in the second half of the year. So considering that, the first quarter results are pretty healthy for us. But we believe that the third and fourth quarter will be very important to our business this year.
はい、ご説明の方は以上になりま
So
す。
this is it for explanation from my end.
では、引き続き質疑応答に移らせていただきます。
Let's
ご質問のある方
move on
は
to
挙手をお願いいたします。
Q&A. If you have any questions, please raise your hand.
先方の男性の方、お願いいたします。
My name is Shoda from Nomura Securities. I have two questions. The first question, the progression rate of the first quarter, you mentioned that it's quite healthy. The transaction value, can we assume that you're doing better than you had planned in terms of the transaction value? And the OP margin, if you look at the first quarter, it's doing better than the target. Is this higher than what you had expected? And if you can go into detail as to what are some of the positive factors that have affected the good transaction value and operating profit? So that's question. That's the first question. And also, you mentioned in your other documents that the opportunity loss, you try to calculate how much opportunity loss and also demand there was. So the underlying demand, how did you calculate? What level is it at? How did you calculate that?
はい、ご質問ありがとうございます。
Thank
一
you
つ
for your
目の
question.
方
The
です
first
けれど
question,
も、ちょっとこれ具体的なお話はさすがにでき
we
ませんの
can't really
で、
go into detail, but
先ほどの説明でニュアンスを汲み取っていただけれ
but
ば
so
と、
if you can
思うんです
think
が、
back at what I
まあ、現
explained
状について言う
earlier
とで
and
すね、
come to your own
具体的に言うと、
conclusion,
はい、
but
かなりいい感じ
the
に
OP margin, we've done very
理
well.
由としてはですね、
The level of
取り
OP
扱い
that
方に
we've
ついて
achieved
は、
in terms of
ま
transaction
あ、
value
まあ、
is
まあまあ
so-so.
ですね。
Mm,
はい。
I think we did okay.
まあ、半期での計算をちょっと出させていただけていませんので、
We
ご
haven't
説明できな
really
いんですけども、
set,
具体的な数字に対しての
disclosed
お答え
any
できないんですけども、
results for the first half of the year either, so we can't really get into
いけるレベルには
detailed figures.
いいんじゃないかというふうに思い
But
ます。
we believe the
で、
operating
期待し
profit
つつ
margin has
ので
done
すね、
quite
そちら
well.
の部分なんですけども、ちょっと具体的
And
なお話はさ
also
すがに
talking about
す
the
みません、
opportunity
具体
loss
例
and
があれ
also
ばお話
the
しできないんですけれど
inherent
も、
demand, we can't really get into
まあ、具体的に
details,
は、
but
イメージとしては、
but
まあ、期
it's
待値について実は我々も以前からお話しさせていただいてい
we've
るところ
already
も
talked about the
あるんですけ
opportunity
れど
loss
も、
from before.
例えば、商品がないことについては再入荷のリクエストをもらうことです
Lack of
ので、
inventory,
ある
but
いはで
we've
すね、ま
also
あ
made a
それ
back
によるです
order.
ね、
We've
これは、
also offered a back order
まあ、誰か
button,
の、
so
力
that's
を借りな
helped
がら、
alleviate this issue. Of
ま
course, we've had
あ、あ
help
んまり僕のことは
from
申し上げたくないんですけども、まあ、ビッグ
brands
デー
and
タ
other
的なところでで
partners,
すね、まあ、このデータを使って、
but we've used the big data.
い
That's
ろんなと
it's
ころ
not
に目を
something
つ
that
け
I
て
like to
い
say, but we've
う
used
形
big
で、
data and
それに
different
よって、
statistical
まあ、
models
いいんじゃないか
to
ということを、
come to a conclusion
まあ、推
about
測したと
the
いうふうに
inherent
ですね、
demand.
すみません、ちょっとこれぐらいしかお話しできないんですけど
So we can't really go into much detail. OP margin, you mentioned did well, but if you look at the gross profit margin as
そ
well,
の
which
話
is
としては
better,
経費の方が、
and
思っ
if
たより
you
は抑えられているかな
but of
というふうに
course,
思います。
we have done better at
ちょっとそれは具体
curtailing
的に
SG&A. Which part of SG&A? We can't really get into detail. About the demand, maybe it's an issue of demand, the geography or member attributes, or where does the potential lie? Do you know where your untapped market is?
ですね、まあ、そういう意味でいくと、どういうものが売れる、売れそうなのかというものを、まあ、ある意味重要として、
We
考え
are
るところ
currently
です。
trying to
景気が良け
figure
れば、
out what kind of products sell well, rather than focusing on specific age group or region. So we're focusing on products that sell well.
あ、それはでももちろん含めた上でです。
Of course, we look at different factors, we consider a wide range of data to, to come up with a potential demand.
前方の男性の方、お願いいたします。
This is Kazahaya from Deutsche Securities. Thank you for your explanation. I have 3 questions. The first question, when you do promotions, how you said that it resonated well. Some of the promotions that you've done before, in the past you haven't done so many promotions, but you've done a lot of different promotions this year. And this has also led to better KPIs as well. So does it mean that if you do a lot of promotions, of course the coordinate photos have a positive effect as well. But can we assume that you're more confident about doing promotions? And the second question,
そうは言ってもですね、17ページがやはりちょっ
if
と
you
気に
look
な
at
るところ
page
がございまして、
17, that's actually,
私も少子化さんがされるのは、
it's curious for us. Of course, a lot of people say that the number of members hasn't increased, and of course you've mentioned this before, but the Labu has been integrated into ZOZOTOWN, and it's already been
しっかり客数が年間購入客
a
数が
year.
伸びていって、
So
一人当たりの点数も増えて、
if you have
非常にこのなんていうんですか、非常に
a
いいコンディションになって、
steady growth of number of total buyers, and if those buyers are steadily purchasing more, is it a healthy trend that we are seeing now now that Labu has been integrated? And the third question,
一緒になってやっぱり ZOZO タウンでですね、
so you've integrated Labu back into ZOZOTOWN.
取ってられないですね、需要があるんだなっていうことも逆に理解しました。そういう意味で言うと、
Now that it's been integrated, maybe ZOZOTOWN can't capture all of the demand.
ことについてちょっと改めてどういうふうにお考えになっていらっしゃいますか。
How do you feel about the ZOZOTOWN's site in terms of increasing the number of buyers? Is it enough with just ZOZOTOWN? So these are the 3 questions that I had.
はい、ありがとうございます。
Thank you very much for your support
で、一つ目
every year.
反則の手応え
In terms of the sales promotions, we didn't do sales promotions in the past.
今はそういう意味では効果が出ている。
So of course, because we haven't done anything, we're seeing positive results now. So at the moment, their promotions are doing well, but sales promotions, you can't do too much because then it starts to not have effects. So we're trying to be careful in terms of the level of promotions that we do conduct.
で、2つ目の、バイヤーがきちんと伸びていく
The number of buyers, whether they will grow or not.
そうです。ご指摘の通りで、本件の良さを
Of course, you mentioned in order to achieve our targets, we need to acquire more buyers.
おっしゃった通り、ラブが統合されて、
Of course, Labu integrated, and also it's been a year after it's been integrated. And of course, starting in 3rd quarter, we need to start focusing on
まあ、バイヤーを増やすですね。
actual growth.
一生懸命取り組んでますので、
So that's why we have focused already on increasing the number of buyers, and if our promotions do well, then we'll see positive results. And the third question, in terms of new site, we don't have any plans to launch a new site, so we're focusing on ZOZOTOWN. So that's it hasn't changed. This is supplementary information from us. In terms of sales promotion, we're not only offering points to our customers, we're actually working with brands on some of the promotions,
とっての真偽っていうよりは、そのブランドさんにとってそのブランドが初め
and
て
this
買う
has
人ってい
helped
うユ
the
ーザーが
brands
いて、
acquire new customers. They
それ
might
は
not,
我
they
々とし
might
たらブ
be
ランドとか
existing
っていうし、ユ
ZOZOTOWN
ーザーにとって
users, but
も
for
ユー
brands,
ザーが増え
they
てい
have
く
been able to
で、これ
acquire
は
new
おそらく
users.
第2四半期以降、こういうような、
So we
ポ
believe
イン
that
ト
we'll
が起こる可能性
continue
が
to
高い
do point promotions with brand
た
in the
だ、
second quarter
我
onwards
々
as
のコ
well.
ストライトはあんまりビビットでモデルではないので、
But
まあ
this does not have any effect on our
まあ
SG&A,
で、あ
so
ともう
it's
一
a
つは、
great
バイヤーの
promotion. It's a
皆さん、
great
トータルバイ
campaign.
ヤーのすごい気にされるんです
And
けれど
also, many
も、
people are concerned about the
ま
number
あ
of
この
total
時の
buyers.
ピークの会員数開示してしまえば一番早い話なんですけれど
But it's
も、
easy
それ
to
はちょっとあん
understand
まりでき
if
ないんです
we
が、
disclose the
イメージ
peak
的には、この四
membership
半
for
期
Labu, but we
で、
can't really do
ZOZO で
that.
の
So,
会員とか、バイヤーの純増数っていうのが、大
but the
体14
Zozo
年3月期の四半期の純増ベースになってます。それ去年だ
Town has
と、
increased the
ZOZO 自
number
体
of
も若
buyers
干
this
純増はして
quarter
たんですけれども、
around the same
今後
level
の
as the third
来期に関して
quarter
は
of
14
fiscal
年
year
8月期以降というので、そ
2014.
の12月3月期の時に冬型を
Fourth
見られれ
quarter
ば、それ
2014.
は
So
安
if you
心して
look
いただ
at
けるかなと
the
いう
fourth
ふうに
quarter
思ってます。
2014 rate of growth, I think you will feel more confident.
前方のセールスターお願いいたします。
よろしくお願いします。クレディスイス証券宮本と申します。
Yamate from Credit Suisse.
3つ
I have 3 questions.
まず1点目なんですが、
The first
7月
question,
のこのキャンペーンなんで
the
すけれども、
campaign that you conducted in July,
でポイント10倍
10 times the point until today, and it's called a super bonus.
だけなんですけど、黄色
It's
に赤い
only
文字が書いて
browsers, but it's yellow and
気合いみたいなのを
red,
感じるんですけど、
so it seems quite aggressive.
にこれだけこうアクセル踏んでらっしゃるっていうのは、
So it seems like you concentrated on the month of July, but why did you decide to do that?
改めて教えて、これ10倍ポイントちなみに全部おっしゃ
10
る
times point is also incurred by you. It's also reflected in SG&A as
2
well.
の質問なんですけれども、
And second question, the average purchase amount per shipment and average retail price has come down, as you mentioned before. So, but the ranking algorithm, you changed. I think you changed that. It's not by price anymore. It's ranking per average pieces. So now, because it's not per price, even cheap products like 1,000 yen come up on high on the rankings. So this seems contradictory to what you have explained. Can you tell us why that is? And the third question, the first quarter, you said you added Ralph Lauren or other brands in the first quarter. This is, it seems like many other brands are resonate with a wider age range. And you also mentioned that the third and fourth quarter you'll be adding more shops as well. But can we assume that it will be same type of shops that you'll be adding in the third and fourth quarter?
ご質問ありがとうございます。
Thank you for your
まず
question.
一つ目のキャンペーン
The first
7月
question,
のキャンペーンですね。
the campaign in
まあ
July,
10倍期間についてはご承諾いただきますけれども、
10 times points campaign. This is all reflected on our SG&A. It comes out of our budget.
まあ当然、
The reason why
今
we've
期
been
は
aggressive,
時間となってですね、
of course, our company
強い
is very dedicated to achieving our
そういう意味
targets.
で、毎月ですね、気合が入ってます。
So every month we'll be doing something new.
岸田さん、ちょっと色が変わってるようです。
So, but it might seem more aggressive in July because it was stronger colors. But it's not really, we're not focusing more on July than any other month. It's we are dedicated every month.
ですので、まあ、特にまあ、もう一つはやっぱりその、セールシーズンというのもありますので、
And of course, July is the sales season.
にとっても、
And so it's
我
an
々が
important
参加してるんですけど、ブランドさんもやはりこの時期売りたい時期だと思います。
month for brands as well. Of course, it's the campaign comes out of our budget, but we want to support the brands as well by paying out of our budget and concentrating, focusing on July because it's an important month for the brands as well. And in terms of the second question. The average retail price decrease
あまりアルゴリズムは関係ない。
the ranking algorithm doesn't really affect the average retail price. The ranking algorithm is separate, and the average ranking algorithm isn't really affecting the average purchase amount per shipment either. So the ranking algorithm hasn't really affected these KPIs. The importance of the ranking is to show customers what the customers want to purchase. So that's the key factor, key purpose, and that hasn't really affected average purchase amount per shipment or average retail price. And in terms of the new shops, we will be adding quite recognized brands in the third and fourth quarter as well, but we can't really confirm at this moment, but we believe that we will be able to.
他ご質問はございませんでしょうか。
Any other questions?
展望のご提案お願いいたします。
SMBC Nikko Shoken Kanamori, I have two questions. The first question, of course, I was late today, so maybe I just missed your explanation, but the actual transaction value, can you tell me how you've calculated the actual growth? The reason why I ask this is that I want to know how the sales has affected this. The summer sales, did you shift the timing that the summer sales begin? But the offline stores have actually pushed the sales period back. Did that have a positive effect for you? Or did you actually start summer sales earlier than the offline stores? Can you tell us if the shift in the sales timing has affected your results? The second question, you mentioned in the last meeting that you wanted the brands to give you more inventory, and it seems like you changed your approach to be more patient and just have the same approach. But maybe you changed the brands by becoming more aggressive to do point campaigns with the brands. The brand's promotions, can you tell us if that has had any positive effect on the number of inventory that they provide to you? Has there been a change in the level of inventory that you received? The first question I will answer. The actual growth rate, if we look at the first quarter previous year, we saw a rise in consumption tax. So we saw some buyers purchasing. We mentioned this before, that some buyers have purchased more as by the end of March. And in June last year, we slightly adjusted the shipping fee. So we've actually taken those into consideration to come up with the actual growth rate. This year, we began sales on June 24th. Last year was June 27th, so it was 3 days earlier. And many people say that the offline stores began in July. Of course, we began on the 24th of June this year, but not all the brands started on July 24th. So depending on the brand, they started their sales at the same time as their offline stores. So it's not, we haven't seen from the data that we sold more because we began our sales earlier than offline stores.
在庫に関しては
And in
ですね、
terms
ま
of
だなんか
inventory,
アプローチ方法を変えてるとかというと、そういう
we
ことはなく
haven't
て、
actually
ま
really
あ、
changed our
全体
approach.
まあ、たまたまそういう、たまたまというか、一つの例としてそういう話をしたと
I
思うん
think
ですけど、
maybe I
その時
mentioned
の
what I
成果で
mentioned in the
在
previous
庫がやはり足り
meeting
ないという
as
ニュース
an
は全くございま
example.
せんので、
But of
ま
course,
あ、
we
足りな
need
いという
to
ふうには
focus on having a better inventory. So we're trying a wide range of promotions to be able to meet our targets. And one of these promotions is, for example, the point campaigns, and the other method is to actually ask brands for more, improving our relationship and asking them for more inventory.
その他ご質問ございますでしょうか。
Are there any other questions?
後方の男性の方、お願いいたします。
My name is Merrill Lynch. My name is Kunimas from Merrill Lynch. I want to know what your approach or what you're thinking for applications are. Are you going? I know you mentioned you will be improving the app, but the amount of purchase that takes place via mobile phones has increasing. So, is there going to be a huge shift or huge change, or will be a more steady improvement of the usability? The second question, maybe I didn't hear this, but the point campaigns, of course, people with user ID can benefit from the point campaigns. But is it important to you that people purchase using their user IDs, or has there been a change in your thinking in terms of guest buyers and user ID buyers? And the third question is the used business. I'm sure many consumers have become more open to selling their used clothing, but how are you looking at this, and what do the brands think about this? It's a very important part of the user's cycle. So maybe it has a relationship with wear as well, but this change in user behavior, how do you think of that? So that is the third question. And overseas is a fourth question. Will you be looking at capturing overseas demand? Will you be introducing small and medium-sized brands to China, for example? Helping the small and medium-sized brands enter the Chinese market? Or can you talk about the potential there? So could you answer those four questions?
ご質問ありがとうございます。
Thank you for your
まず
question.
一つ目、アプリなんですけれど
First
も、
question
ア
about
プ
the
リの使い方
application.
ですね。まず、ウェアについて言う
And
と、これ
with
は
where,
もう従前からお話ししている通りで、本当
I've
に
mentioned
今のところ
this
何もやつとかあんまり考えてなくて、広げて
before,
いくことを本当に注力を。
but we
で、
want to make this widespread. We're
一
not
方
thinking
で、
of
コン
monetizing
トローラー
it
なんですね。
at the
これ
moment,
も、
but ZOZOTOWN
もうそろそろ
application,
ですね、リニューアルバージョンを
we will be releasing a new
リニ
version
ューアルし
soon.
て、お落ちする予定なんですけれども、そういう意味では当然これやっぱりスマート
Of
フォ
course,
ンの、まずアプリですね。
it's a
スマートフォン
smartphone
向
app.
こうのアプリのやっぱり拡充ってこれ大事だと思ってますので、当
Improving our
然これは
smartphone app,
ダ
of
ウン
course,
の
is
アプリを意
important
識
to
して、
us.
で、
So we want
ま
to
あ、
improve our ZOZOTOWN
こ
app
れは非常に大事な要素。
to increase
一方
the
で、これからウ
transaction
ェアをメデ
value,
ィアとして広めていくと
but
いうこと
where we want to
で、
also
考え
make
ていきたい
widespread as a
というふうに思ってい
media.
ます。で、ポイントキャンペーンについて言うとですね、
And in terms of
我
point
々あんま
campaigns,
りゲストバイヤーと
we
相手に
don't
しなきゃって
really
いうここの、意識は持ってなくて、
differentiate between people with user IDs and guest buyers.
お客様が好きなように
This may be a rough way of saying this, but as customers can purchase however way they want to.
有効ですしやりやすいっていう
But
の
of
があって
course, for
実施している
users who have user
結
IDs,
果としてで
its
す
point
ね、
campaigns are
顧客
beneficial.
単位に、が増えるというようなことは、あるだろうなと。これは当然
Of
思ってます。
course, this will help
で、
improve the
やっぱ
number
りそのぐらい
of
にあるのは
registered
大変ですよ。あるだろう
members.
というふうに
we have. We can't really say that it has. We can say that it probably will have. But this is not the main purpose of the sales promotions or point promotions. And of course, the used business, the ecosystem of in terms of the ecosystem of the customers and how the world is changing, its used business is very important. The used clothing market actually is a very old market that's been present in Japan for a long time. So of course, before it was offline, but with Yahoo Auction, it shifted to online. And naturally, of course, we would be. It's natural for us to start offering ZOZO Use as well. So, and in terms of the brands, they're not really. They don't regard the ZOZO Use business as a negative business. So of course, we would like to focus on the ZOZO business as well. And overseas, we're not looking at re-entering the overseas market. So we're focusing on offering wear overseas. Of course, Japanese users will be able to see Japanese fashion. So we hope that this will help the overseas consumers understand Japanese fashion better. And maybe down the line, there's a possibility to sell Japanese fashion to overseas users. But right now, we just want to introduce Japanese fashion to overseas users. With the app, I wanted to know more about the ZOZO Town app. The new version that you'll be offering will it play a very important role in improving the transaction value in the third and fourth quarter? Or is it just one of your strategies? If you look at the total target, and it's just one of all our strategies are important, but it's one of them. But of course, we believe that it's a very important part of our strategy.
ご質問ございますでしょうか。
We're running out of time, so if you have any questions, please raise your hand. We have time for one question. I guess there doesn't seem to be any more questions. Thank you for joining us today. Our session today has come to an end. Thank you for taking the time to join us today.